'Tis the season to gain weight. It's the holiday season once again, and that can bring with it family gatherings, parties, get-togethers, and lots of food. And did you know that the average person gains about 2 pounds during the holiday season? Now, I know that might not sound like a lot, but think about it. Most people don't lose that weight after. So 2 pounds year after year, 5 years later, you're 10 pounds heavier. And I don't want that to be the case for you. And as a 50-year-old menopausal woman, it can feel like those pounds can be practically glued onto your body. But don't you worry, my gorgeous girl, because I've got some solutions here so that you avoid that sneaky holiday weight gain. And most importantly, we're gonna get to it today without you feeling deprived this season. So let's start off by talking about the causes of the sneaky holiday weight gain. Did you know that there is something that exists? There's actually a term for this, and it's called the holiday atmosphere effect. Think about it for a second. When you think about the holidays, there's lights, there's smells, there's like a cozy sweater, you've got texture, you've got feelings of family and friends around, dim lighting, right? And all of that put together really can lower your inhibitions and as a result, make you eat and drink a lot more than you would if you were at a brightly lit restaurant or by yourself somewhere and there wasn't like holiday jazz playing in the background. Isn't that kind of interesting? And another often overlooked cause for holiday weight gain is dehydration. Did you know that even being 1 to 2% dehydrated can slow down your metabolism? And also when we are dehydrated, we often can mistake our thirst for hunger, making us eat even more. That's why I'm such a huge fan of Peak's Radiant Skin Duo, our partner for today. I've been a huge fan of the Radiant Skin Duo because honestly, it really hydrates you from the inside out. And that is truly the most effective way to really cause that deep hydration. The electrolytes and hyaluronic acid in the BT fountain keep me hydrated from the inside out. It's delicious, it's adorable, and it's a perfect addition to the holiday season. And the Sun Goddess Matcha EGCG firms and brightens the skin. It has chlorophyll, which supports skin clarity, and L-theanine promotes calm and balance to reduce stress-induced breakouts, which I don't have to tell you can be a real drag during the holiday season. And I love knowing that their Sun Goddess Matcha is quadruple toxin screened, 100% organic and ceremonial grade, which means you're getting a way higher quality product. Combining the two can help improve the appearance of your skin by protecting it from damage, strengthening its barrier function, and keeping it deeply hydrated. Now is the perfect time to check out Peak. Get up to 20% off the Radiant Skin Duo plus a free starter kit. Leave all the information listed below in the description box. If you don't know where the description box is, underneath my head somewhere you'll see the title of today's video. Click on more, and if you're on mobile, click more again, and you'll find all the juicy details. Now this is one that I'm sure I don't need to remind you of, but emotional eating, and it's often triggered by nostalgia. Think about it. You know, your mom makes the best lasagna ever, and maybe you're on a weight loss plan right now, and you tell yourself, I'm not gonna eat the lasagna, I'm not gonna eat the lasagna, but then you smell that lasagna, you feel your mom's warm embrace, and she's like, please, eat the lasagna, and the next thing you know, you're finishing off a plate or two of lasagna. But not to worry, I've got you covered, and we're gonna really get into how to avoid this holiday overeating in just a second. The fourth cause of sneaky holiday weight gain is what we like to call the grazing trap, which is a little bite here, a nibble here, a taste here, and then the next thing you know, you've had a lot of extra food before you even sat down for your meal. Raise your hand if you love a pumpkin spice latte, but many of us have that liquid calories blind spot. Those added calories really add up and definitely contribute to that holiday weight gain and just general puffiness, right? The eggnogs, the pumpkin spice lattes, the extra cocktail, the wine, all of it combined with the extra nibbles and bites is what's gonna cause that holiday puff. And finally, another cause of holiday weight gain can be caused from what I like to call social proof snacking, which means you see all your friends going up to get seconds or indulging in the dessert table, so why shouldn't you? And then suddenly your health goals and your desires and all of the things that you want just just kind of goes out the window. Now, if you're a menopausal woman, you're actually even more susceptible to holiday weight gain. Womp womp, I know, very bad news here, but I always want to tell you the truth, and of course I'm going to arm you so that you don't make these mistakes and don't have that sneaky holiday weight gain. As we enter menopause, obviously our hormone levels shift and change, and especially as our estrogen begins to drop, it becomes way easier for us to put on excess weight, especially that visceral fat and belly fat. And also those hormonal shifts and changes make it even that much more difficult for our body to process sugar. So it's really something as menopausal women we want to keep our eyes really alert for. For all of us, the holidays can be a time of just being a little bit more stressed out, right? I know I feel like I have so much more on my plate and I have so much less time. So that extra stress is not good for our waistline and definitely can contribute to weight gain, which none of us want, right? And unfortunately, many of us have sleep issues, which actually can get amplified during the holiday season because maybe you're out a little bit later, you're eating meals a little bit later, you're including a little bit extra alcohol, and all of that can really disturb your sleep. And when our sleep is disturbed, our hormones are even more affected, and that also can make us gain extra weight. Now, my point here is not for us to feel bad or blame our bodies, but I do think it's really important to know, number one, that you are not crazy. Number two, there is a real science-backed reason why you might be experiencing weight gain, mood issues, sleep disturbances. And number three, there are things that you can do to help avoid that sneaky weight gain. So before we get into the tactics to really implement so that you avoid the sneaky weight gain, I want to just take a quick second to thank you so much for being here. You are what makes this community and this channel just my favorite place to be. So if you haven't already, please do click on the subscribe button. It's totally free to do so, and we're almost at 300,000, and that would be the best holiday gift that we could have because this is all about community. And if you're new here and you just clicked on the subscribe button, let me know in the comments so I can welcome you in. All right, let's dive in. So first, let's start off with some creative solutions to avoid holiday weight gain. Number one is what I like to call create a savoring challenge. You know, I have a whole program that's based on this, but to really just like kind of dumb it down into one little piece of it, it's basically really being present with your food. You know, I think about like times where I've traveled and I've been in Italy or in Paris and I'm at an amazing restaurant. I'm not gobbling up the food like it's the last thing that I'm going to eat. I'm actually really savoring it. I'm feeling the texture in my mouth. I'm chewing my food. I'm eating very elegantly, right? And that's key because when we really enjoy our food, we're also helping our digestion. So our digestion is better, we are less stressed, and we likely will eat much less because you're actually eating so much slower. The second key thing to implement is what I like to call having like a holiday food budget. Now, hear me out. I don't mean like how much you're spending on groceries. I mean just kind of creating a sense of balance throughout your day. Let's say, for instance, you know that you've got a cocktail party on an evening. So maybe you have a little bit of a lighter lunch that's really rich in protein and vegetables and phytonutrients so that you're feeling really satisfied. But then when you go to the cocktail party, you know, you might have a couple finger foods and some bites there. Just try to make them be a little bit more protein rich. And if you're having a drink, make sure that you're having 2 glasses of wine between each alcoholic drink. If you're having a drink, make sure that you're having 2 glasses of between each alcoholic drink. Does that make sense? So you're kind of just like creating a grand overview of your food for the day. It seems really simple, but I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference when you implement it. If you constantly find yourself nibbling during the holiday season, and let's face it, it can be hard, right? There's options all over the place. You want to do something to keep yourself busy. So one thing that I like to do is have a drink in my hand. No, I'm not always talking about a cocktail or a glass of wine, but just having something in my hand so that I have something to sip on. Because again, remember, dehydration causes us to eat more. And if we're constantly sipping, we will actually be quenching our thirst, which will actually give us our real hunger cues. Here's a little hot tip, a little bit of etiquette, if you will. Don't put your drink in your right hand because it's going to get cold and it's going to get wet. Keep it in your left hand so that you have a hand that's clean and dry and ready to be shaking. Or Or if you don't want to be carrying a drink, just having like a clutch purse, something just to keep your hands busy so you're not constantly eating. And that way, you know, you've got something in your hand so that if you are going to eat something, you have to be conscious about it to put the purse down, grab a plate, you know, eat a little bit something, and then you pick up that purse again. So you've got something keeping your hands occupied. And one more kind of creative tip to implement during the holiday season is what I like to call reverse meal planning. It's sort of like getting that overview, but it's a little bit different. You are just intentionally focusing on eating healthier foods during the day. So making sure that you are really conscientiously choosing better choices, you know? So no matter what your food goals are, making sure that you're getting adequate protein, you're getting healthy fats, you're eating an abundance of vegetables, so you're getting all those phytonutrients, you're drinking your water so that you're not hungry, you're not starving. You know, I know when I get really busy and sometimes I'll like forget to eat lunch, guess what happens? I'll eat my dinner, but then I find myself snacking like all night long. Whereas if I have a good breakfast, a good lunch, and then a good dinner, I don't have that evening snack time. And especially if I'm going to a party, I'm already satisfied. So I feel good and I'm really about enjoying the company and the conversation and the atmosphere rather than just the food. Now, specifically in menopause, it's really, really important that we focus on protein, because what happens as we are in menopause, we tend to lose muscle mass. And the number one thing that you can do to make sure that you are keeping your muscle mass is making sure that you're eating adequate protein. So I've done a whole video about this. You can check it out here next. But really, in really simple terms, whether you're plant-based or you're a meat eater or carnivore, make sure that you're getting adequate grams of protein each day. This also is going to be such a key thing to keeping you satisfied. Whether you're in menopause or not, that is the key for feeling satisfied. Think about it. When you eat just like a plate of pasta, you might be hungry like an hour later, hour and a half. Whereas if you eat a steak, you're not gonna have like 4 steaks, right? You're gonna have your portion of a steak and you're probably gonna be satisfied. Or if you're plant-based, let's say that you had some tempeh in your salad, a good adequate amount, like let's say a good 6 ounces, that's gonna keep you more satisfied because you're getting more grams of protein, and that's gonna help make it so much easier for you to avoid those holiday temptations. We've already talked about hydration, so just another quick reminder, make sure that you are hydrated, drink a ton of water. It makes a huge difference, and again, you'll get those real hunger cues. And during the holiday season, I like doing like exercise snacks. So here's what I mean. Even in my fitness membership, Total Body Transformation, we have a whole series called Turbo 10, which are just 10-minute workouts. So you just get a little bit of movement in. And why this is so important, number one, it's gonna help your blood sugar remain more stable. Just anytime that we move and we have exercise, it just helps to keep our blood sugar more regulated, but also you're kind of having a win in your day. The more active we are, the more muscle we're gonna maintain, and it just makes it that much easier for us to make continued healthier choices, because choice after choice, they kind of stack and build upon each other. So if you know, like, at least I got my workout in, even if it was only 10 minutes, you're starting your day off with a huge win. We've talked about how stress and cortisol go up during the holiday season, but really making sure, especially if you're in menopause, that you are practicing good sleep hygiene. You know, get off your devices, use a sleep mask, put on a sound machine if you need to, make sure if you're taking any sleep supplements that you're implementing them, and really treat yourself to a wind down routine. This is the most important time of the year for you to take care of you, because life can feel a little bit crazy at this time of year. So it's really important that your sleep game is on point. And this is probably the hugest one that I could tell you, which is don't beat yourself up. The holiday season is about enjoying yourself and enjoying the company and enjoying your family and your friends and the twinkly lights and the magic that's in the air. So, okay, let's say one night you had an espresso martini too many, or you had a tiramisu that you weren't planning on having. What can you do about it? The only thing that you can do is focus on what's next. And I don't mean that in like a restrictive way, but saying, you know what, it's meal to meal, it's choice to choice. And this is what I always tell the women in my weight loss course. Perfection doesn't exist. It's about who am I being in that moment. And so if you intentionally indulge, let's say, oh my gosh, I love chocolate cake and they have the best chocolate cake at this restaurant, enjoy it. savor it, implement the tools that I've given you here today, hydrate, make sure that you're present with your food, and then move on. You don't need to eat chocolate cake every single day for the rest of the week, right? So I know that you're busy, and I know that this season can be a lot, right? But it also can be a time that you do find these little practical and some a little bit more creative tips to implement. And you know, when we see results is when we implement. So I really would love to hear from you. If this was helpful for you, please do leave me a comment. It's one of my favorite things ever here on YouTube, is really interacting with you. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And like I said, if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. It's totally free to do so, and all you have to do is press on that little subscribe button. And if you want to keep hanging with me here on YouTube, make sure to check out this video next, and I'll see you there.